This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
As I was looking up, all of a sudden I realized that it wasn't debris that I was seeing, but it was a man who was jumping out of the 103rd floor. And I stopped and waited and watched him come all the way to the ground.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers up the doctors.
Maybe that something fell off the building. We don't know, to be perfectly honest, but that is what you're looking at, is the current, that's the scene at this moment at the World Trade Center.
The second building that was hit by the plane has just completely collapsed. The entire building has just collapsed. It folded down on itself, and it is not there anymore.
That should be it.
Thanks very much,
completely collapsed.
The whole side has collapsed?
The whole building has collapsed.
The whole building has collapsed?
The building has collapsed.
That's the southern tower you're talking about.
Exactly. The second building that we witnessed the airplane.
They were invalids, you know, they couldn't get out the wheelchair.
How many people did you see like that, Mr. Knowles?
2 people. I pray to God for the people in the wheelchairs because they couldn't get out. They were sitting there waiting for somebody to carry them down.
The front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord. There are no words. You can see large pieces of the building falling. You can see the smoke rising. You can see a portion of the side of the building now just being covered up. This is just a horrific scene and a horrific moment.
We realize that this country has been attacked in an act of terrorist war in the heart of the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., and also in New York City, and then a plane that was driven into the ground outside of Pittsburgh. We believe that that is the end of the attacks for now, but no one is sure because we don't know who is responsible.
These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite in our resolve for justice and peace. America has stood down enemies before, and we will do so this time.
I can hear you, the rest of the world hears you, and the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
President of the United States.
American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations. America faces an enemy who has no regard for conventions of war or rules of morality. We will meet that threat now with our Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and Marines, so that we do not have to meet it later with armies of firefighters and police and doctors on the streets of our cities. The enemies you confront will come to know your skill and bravery.
There he goes, jubilant
violence seems too mild a word for what you're seeing here as the citizens of Baghdad are on top of this statue.
Scenes of ordinary Iraqis, citizens with sledgehammer.
The people you liberate will witness the honorable and decent spirit of the American military.
Saddam Hussein killed my family, killed my 3 uncles and my cousin and my son uncle. He is murdering, he is killer. Must you are save me from him.
Crowds surged into the streets to applaud them and their work.
The end of Saddam is what they've prayed and dreamt of.
Change that brought this image down were as nothing to the chains that had bound a people for so long. This for them was the key moment of the day, the key moment of the war, for many indeed, the cardinal moment of their lives.
To sentence defendant Saddam Hussein al-Majid to be executed with hanging.
This has been the best organized election and the most peaceful run-up since the American invasion in 2003. Says this woman, a doctor, the violence motivated me. I just had to vote.
6:15 Baghdad time, Special Operation Forces confirms Zarqawi's location and delivered justice for the most wanted terrorist in Iraq.
I think that there's no doubt that the violence is down. I believe that that is a testimony to the troops that were sent and General Petraeus. I think that the surge has succeeded.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.